Hi everybody, welcome back to another one of my Sims 4 speed builds. It's Jess here, and today I am so excited to share this week's speed build with you all. So this is an Enchanted Botanical Garden which is set on a 40 by 50 lot in Henford-on-Bagley. I felt like Henford-on-Bagley was going to be the best fit, seeing as it is actually based off a building which is in England, so I thought, well, Henford-on-Bagley is kind of off England too, so it matched. And yeah, I think the original lot was called it's the one which is the park. Sorry, that's probably a bit useless, but it will be on the gallery and you'll be able to download it from there if you want, and the links will be in the description. But yeah, so basically this lot is a beautiful, romantic, peaceful botanical garden. It's going to be full with lush hedgerows and lakes and little areas for your Sims to just be outside in nature, and I thought that was so fun. Usually I'm building in the center here, I'm building a summer house, and for those of you who have seen Bridgerton, you will recognize it from there. I drew a lot of inspiration from this temple. I'm going to call it a temple. It's a summer house / temple thing that I'm making here. But I drew a lot of inspiration from the Bridgerton series. Last week, if you haven't seen that video, I made Lady Danbury's house, and when I was doing the research for that, I came across this really beautiful image of this temple that I was like, oh, I remember that being in Bridgerton season 1. So yeah, I've basically used that image as inspiration for making this summer house, as I just thought it was such a beautiful location, and I really wanted to incorporate it. And yeah, so when I saw it, I was instantly like, oh my gosh, that's so fun, and I really wanted to base a build around it, basically. And I thought, seeing as it's starting to become summertime here, well, it definitely is, fingers crossed, hopefully it's not going to rain anymore in the UK. But yeah, so I thought it'd be great to make a beautiful flowering springtime, summertime garden, which is absolutely great. And I really enjoyed making this. I thought all of the use of the columns and like the domed ceiling and like the different wings of the summer house made it look so interesting. And then having like the symmetry of the big, I'll get to this in a minute in the speed build, but like the long ponds and fountains in front of it, it just looks so nice. And I think this kind of style of park, I'm gonna say, would normally be attached to a really big like estate, and I'm thinking kind of Regency era here, but any massive house I feel like is going to have big gardens attached to it. But I didn't really want to build this on a massive lot, to be honest. I wanted it to be really easy to download into your game, and I don't know, there's something quite nice about it being all condensed into the same spot, and it definitely makes the video shorter. So I've actually done quite a lot of this in the speed build already. So you'll see I've already made the summer home, and I made it in this beautiful sandy brown brick colour. A lot of the features on the exterior of that are made from Felix Andre's items, and absolutely love those. That's great. And all the CC I use in this video will be linked, of course, in the description below, so you can download it for yourselves and definitely give it a try. And yeah, so I also gave some costume content from the gym a try this time, because part of this gardens is the like sculpture element to it, and the gym does amazing sculptures, so I downloaded loads of them and I gave them all a go, and there's loads of different ones. You'll see them throughout the build, and yeah, I mean, let me know which ones are your favorite, because I definitely have one that I'll get to later that is my favorite. But yeah, so as you can see, I'm using these like square hedges. They're quite boxy, because I feel like they looked really landscaped and manicured, and like there was a team of gardeners looking after this this like park, I guess. And so I've placed them around this central fountain area which leads up to the front of the summer home, and I thought this looked gorgeous. And I really hope that if you have a slightly slower computer that it's not gonna like lag out with how many of the like hundreds of little boxes of hedges that I had to place. But I'm sure it'll be fine because they're quite like simple, I guess. But yeah, so I placed this like beautiful floral hedge as well to go alongside it, just to give it a really enchanted, flowering, you know, beautiful springtime look to it. And yeah, so there's these 4 fountains that are also in the kind of like central area. And well, they're actually pools because I couldn't get a fountain to like have the same trim around it, so I made them pools. So I guess kind of your Sims can go swimming, and they can go swimming in the lake, which was really fun. One thing I did make sure with this build was to add loads of really fun activities, so it's really functional and like so fun for your Sims to use, which is important. I don't tend to play a lot of gameplay in The Sims, but I definitely used to. I think it's just I've been playing it for so long now that I'm, you know, my interest has kind of peaked a bit, but that's fine. So yeah, now I'm just adding some foliage and some beautiful flowers around this central fountain. I did toy when I was planning this with making a slightly larger fountain in the center, but it just looked a bit too over the top. So I think that's the theme with this build, is I kept it very minimalistic. If a Georgian era property can be minimalistic, but do you know what I mean? It's not like huge and massively flamboyant. It is just very pretty and romantic, and that's what is great. So yeah, as you can see here, in the build we have a summer home, we have like that central landscape garden area. There's a waterfront pavilion in the top left, which is like a beautiful little gazebo thing on water, which is lovely. There's a fishing lake, which I will get to later. And right now I'm currently making a walled garden, which I kind of, as I was building this, initially I had the idea of, I kind of wanted to add something more that's going to make it interesting. So I added this walled garden and played around with using these like domed windows, what are they? Like, yeah, they're kind of like pedestals, but like built into the wall. But I love using them in my builds, and I was like, well, I can totally use this in a walled garden. And I think it looks gorgeous, and I'm so happy with how it all came out. It just looked perfect, and it's so overgrown and like magical in a way, and just looks kind of like frozen in time, which is what I really wanted it to look like. It's covered in ivy. You can see it's like completely kind of like devoured in ivy, I guess, which is great, and it was so fun. And I've put loads of these like sculptures in these little nooks in the walls. I wanted the person who maybe originally owned this park to maybe have been like so wealthy, so they've like collected all of these beautiful sculptures. And yeah, so I made the walled garden a little bit more like floral than the rest of the build, because I wanted it to kind of imagine that it was like an enclosed, like warm, like it caught all of the heat during the day, so all of these like exotic plants would grow there. I don't know if that makes sense, but that was kind of like my thinking behind it when I was making it, and that was really fun. I did mention earlier that I had a favourite statue, and it's the one that's just on the left here, that's on the pedestal. It's the beautiful statue of the woman holding the cup, and I don't know, in my mind it just looks so, the feminine energy is just great, and I love it. So yeah, but that is also by the gym, so if you wanted to download that, it will be linked below. So I'm just adding these wall trims. This, you guys, it just took me forever to find a wall because I couldn't find any fences that worked, and I went through like the entire of the live edit objects to try and find something that worked, and I'm so happy that I did, but my god, it took me ages. So yeah, and now I'm just adding in lots of beautiful daisies and grass, and I just imagine that in the summertime there's going to be loads of bees and, you know, beautiful like birds swooping in and butterflies flying around, and it'd just be so peaceful. Like, can you tell I want to escape here? Because I really do. So yeah, so now we're coming outside of the wall garden, and this is kind of towards the back of the build, so I made it look a little bit more overgrown. It's definitely not as like perfectly managed as the gardens at the front, which is like with those boxy hedges, there's like not a leaf out of place. Whereas like at the back here, it's a bit more overgrown, it's a bit more lush. And yeah, that felt really nice because it was like a different vibe as you moved more towards the like relaxed seating area, which is in the pavilion. And yeah, so I just placed loads of like ferns and things around the pond, and later on I do go back in and add some lily pads and like fireflies for the evening, which I feel would just look beautiful, and there's some swans in the big lake, so it really does come to life in live mode as well, which is great. I was like play testing it for a bit and I was like, oh my god, this is actually so cool, like I really want to visit it. So yeah, I added this like round seating section in the pavilion because I just felt that it looked so cozy, and I initially had a chess table in here, but it didn't feel quite right. I wanted it to be somewhere that you could curl up with a book on a warm afternoon and just like lose track of time, and I could definitely see myself doing that here. I don't know if you guys would enjoy that too, but let me know what you think. So yeah, and to kind of get that little bit of a romantic vibe in, I added lots of candles on the ground in this area. I don't know, for some reason I just feel like this would be a great little spot for, you know, for some Sims to go on a date. That's kind of what I was thinking, which was really sweet. So yeah, that was a big driver behind me making that part. And here you can see I'm now working back on the front of the build again, and I added these huge, great big pedestals. I didn't really have a lot of room to work with because obviously like I'm literally on the boundary of the lot, but that's fine. And I added these gorgeous like symmetrical lion statues because, do you know, like this, the whole gardens is just so opulent. I feel like, you know, you've got to have tradition. It's a very traditional British thing to have lions. Obviously, I think are they on the royal family crest or something? I don't know, but like, you know, you kind of, they're kind of associated with like royalty and, you know, being in high society, whatever, in England. So I felt like that would be like a beautiful like sculpture to have at the front. And yeah, so in between the walled garden and kind of like the central pathway is a couple of other of like topiary gardens with like sculptured plants and things. Just more things for your Sims to look at, I guess. You could totally have a picnic. And yeah, just beautiful little spots. Maybe bring an art easel. I don't believe I actually added an art easel, but I definitely should have done thinking about it, but you can totally go in and do that if you want to. But yeah, that was something that I thought would be great. And I've added little fountains, as you'll see, and again more statues. Like it's quite, this part of the build was quite similar, but I enjoyed it because it made it look really cohesive together. So a fun fact for you guys, this temple that I was like basing it on, which was filmed in part of the Bridgerton series, is actually called the Temple of the Four Winds, and it's part of the Castle Howard estate, which I'm not sure whereabouts that is in the UK, but it is in the UK. But yeah, I just thought that was so awesome that it's like the Temple of the Four Winds. It sounds so enchanting, which is exactly what I've tried to make when I've built this, so I love that. And yeah, so now I'm adding another little romantic seating area by the pond, which was just so lovely, and you'll see in my intro video that I kind of really enjoy making little intros, but there were two Sims who were just getting a little bit cuddly on there, which was lovely. And I didn't really know what to do with this back corner. I had a bit of space and I didn't really want to just like fill it up with just trees, because I felt like it would be really nice to put something in. And so I actually added a kind of little veranda. Is it called a veranda? It's not called a veranda. It's like a parasol thing covering a dining table. And I thought that would be so nice because, you know, maybe your Sims could come here for the whole day and they would have like a meal outside, which I thought was really nice, and have it be like really romantic and candlelit. And yeah, so that was kind of my thoughts behind that, which was lovely. So now, to be honest, like we're kind of getting towards the end now because I'm working on the summer house, which was so fun. I really loved the fact that I got to do a little bit of interior decorating here because that is kind of one of my favorite parts of building in The Sims. I love landscaping, as you guys will know, because this entire build has basically been landscaping, but I also really enjoy doing interiors, so I just had to get a little bit of that in there. So the theme for the inside is very neutral. I use these long white curtains, and I just had this image of them billowing in the breeze on a hot summer's day when you've come inside, and because it's got the tiled floor, it'd be like really cool inside. And yeah, so there's some lovely seating that you can just gather around the fireplace, and again in winter, like it's a very usable room, and I feel like even if it was raining and it was like pouring it down outside, your Sims could come in and light the fire and just cozy up on those winter days, and it just be a bit of a sanctuary really, which was kind of why I did it in neutrals, because it was very calming and just very relaxing. So yeah, I added lots of comfy seating and a few sculptures and plants as well. But yeah, otherwise it's quite simply decorated. It's not too lavish. It's not as decadent as some of the other period property like houses that I've made recently, which have been incredibly detailed and full of loads of things. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love making those, but it was quite nice to kind of modernize it a tiny bit and make it a bit more simplistic, and that was great. So yeah, and I added some books as well, because you know what Sim doesn't want to do a little bit of reading on this or curled up on the sofa, so I added that. And I also added a chess table outside because I think this is one of the requirements for it to be a park. So when I upload it to the gallery, it's listed as generic, but I did add a chess table so you can switch it to a park if you want lots of Sims turning up, but I just wanted it to maybe be a bit more of a private space, so I just listed it as generic, so anyone can visit there, but it doesn't tend to get as many visitors as like a public park. But you know, there's a chess table if you need it. And yeah, so one thing I realised right at the end of the build is, oh my god, I didn't have any bathrooms, and I really wanted this to be somewhere that your Sims can come and be for the whole day and be pretty much self-sustained here. I mean, I don't think I made anywhere for them to cook food, but I don't know, you can always order pizza or something, I don't know. But yeah, so I gave them some beautiful bathrooms, and there's a ladies' bathroom and a gents' bathroom. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's been so lovely to share it with you. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want to see more like this, then definitely subscribe to my channel. Love you guys so much. Bye!